this here in Las Vegas. Take you through the lineups here for the Memphis Grizzlies. Bruno Caboclo, Tyler Harvey, John Conchar, Ivan Rabb, and Yuta Watanabe. Brian Bowen II, Aaron Holiday, Elise Johnson, Jalen Johnson, and Edmund Sumner for the Indiana Pacers. And we are off and running here at Cox Pavilion on the campus of UNLV. Quick
holiday prior to the game. We've talked a little bit about his sophomore season, which I guess technically starts just about right now. So I asked him the biggest differences between last year this time and this year, and he said it's his confidence and comfort levels. He told me he feels a lot more confident with a year of NBA experience under his belt. So his advice for players making a professional debut this summer: stay in the gym. Keep your confidence regardless of playing time. It'll change, but your confidence level shouldn't. Guys, he also stressed the importance of finding a veteran to learn from. So I asked him, for him last season, who was it? He told me it was Corey Joseph. Then he also laughed and said his big brothers have helped a little bit also.
Yeah, that's a handy resource to have when you have two older brothers already playing in the NBA. Drew with the Pelicans, and Justin, who is still a free agent, one of the last really experienced free agents left on the market right now.
And I think he'll get signed. At this point right now, the money is starting to drop. So if you're a guy like that, you're looking for the right situation where you're going to get an opportunity to get some minutes. And again, continue to prove to people that you're a player and improve your stock and get paid one day.
That's big Ben Lawson at the free throw line for the Grizzlies. Just entered the game. Played last season in Japan. He is British by birth. Played his college ball at Western Kentucky. Like so many of these guys, well-traveled. From Europe to the United States and now Japan professionally, and here in Las Vegas trying to open eyes.
Hey man, as a GM, you like some of these guys that have traveled and played in different countries, because two things about them. When you've had to grind out a career playing in foreign countries in some of these obscure leagues, then it makes you grow up, and then by the time you get to an NBA team, you're just so happy and ecstatic to be there. You just bring a whole different mentality and just a feel for being on that team.
When you see Lawson forcing the issue with the drive there, he's a big guy, 7'1", and put it on the floor, trying to take it to the rim. Gonchar, screen from Rad, cut off. And it's Harvey, flip that up, but to no avail. Back comes Indiana. It's Johnson through traffic, lost it. Lob up top to Lawson. Man behind him doesn't go. And they'll call basket interference, and that's a bucket for Ben Lawson. Goaltending is the call.
Man, I don't understand why more bigs don't rim run. Why don't they just run to the you 7'1", run to the front of the rim and get your hands up, and that ball will find you, or at least it makes defense collapse on you.
It's a little bit of a lost start, isn't it?
Yeah. Big guys don't want to post up anymore.
Johnson looking for a safety valve. Wild attempt leads the Grizzlies back the other way. Wide open three, and it wouldn't fall. Dusty Hand is off on the shot, back the other way.
But man, I like the play. You know, Johnson just forced a shot, looked pretty bad doing it. This time he came down and made the right decision. That's what you want to see as a coach. Are these guys going to make the right decisions at the right time?
Indiana had numbers briefly, and they get the and one opportunity for Elise Johnson. Kind of a ragged minute or so back and forth between the two teams, and Johnson pays it all off nicely with the reverse. Elise Johnson played 14 games with the Pacers last year. as a rookie. Second-round pick last season for Indiana out of Missouri State in Springfield, Missouri. Keenan Evans now handling for the Grizzlies. Out to Peyton Aldridge, who hands it off to John Gonchar. Up against the shot clock, and no problem for Keenan Evans, who drops the mid-range shot. Johnson comes back aggressively the other way. Over Lawson and good.
I tell you what, one thing about Johnson, when he gets going down here, he don't stop, and he's making some good things happen right now.
Hanna's moving without the ball, and Dusty Hanna's with an easy 2. Spent a little time with the big club on a 10-day contract last season. That is college ball in nearby Arkansas. Holiday for 3 off the screen, uses it nicely. And they'll be looking for that improvement here in Summer League from Aaron Holiday. Lawson out top. Evans has it, working with him. In a crowd, they lose it. It's interesting watching these guys trying to work together, because in many cases they've not played together before.
And Matt, some of these guys, you know, they'll leave teams after 2 games and join another team, and then you'll bring 2 or 3 guys in.
Right.
And that's the thing about the Summer League. It's not about necessarily executing the plays. It's about showing these teams you know how to play.
Right. Devon Akun-Purcell with the bucket on the other end. And then Lawson is fouled on his way to the rim. Aaron Holiday, just under 34% as a three-point shooter his rookie season. They'll take that. Memphis with a 2-point lead. The world champion Toronto Raptors against the Golden State Warriors in a finals rematch, Sam. A finals rematch.
I think a few guys are missing, though. Let me see. Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Steph Curry. Just to name a few.
Not scheduled to appear.
Not scheduled to appear, so don't get your hopes up.
Kawhi Leonard won't be appearing in a Toronto Raptor uniform anytime soon.
No, not anytime soon, at least for the next 4 years.
Right. It may be a reunion of some sort 10 or 15 years from now. Who knows? Of course, that rattled the NBA nearly as much as the earthquake last night. That news late, I guess it was, I've lost track of time. It was 1 or 2 in the morning Eastern time when that came out. That Kawhi Leonard decided he is going back home to L.A. to play with the L.A. Clippers and convince the Clippers to go after Paul George, and they had to convince OKC to make the deal.
He convinced Paul George. Think about that conversation Paul George had to have with Russell Westbrook. You know, Paul George was the MVP candidate, had his best year ever as a pro, 28 points a game, 6-7 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists. So Paul George, you know what, he finished? Third in the MVP voting? Third.
And he was in the conversation for first until late in the season, really until the last month, 6 weeks or so. And you now have a Clipper lineup with arguably the 2 best two-way players in the entire league.
Now think about that, and now think about who's coaching them. Doc Rivers, an excellent coach, a guy that knows how to get the most out of guys. And when you got 2 guys that are the best at defending their position and giving you 25, 30 points a game, you got something special.
It's a really interesting potential lineup for the Clippers, who are now, at least according to one sportsbook here in Vegas, the favorite to win the NBA
what do you
championship
think about that
next year. And I feel, I've not researched this, but I feel confident saying that is the first time in franchise history they've ever been the favorite before a season.
So do you think the Clippers are going to be that much better than the LeBron James, Anthony Davis team?
Well, they're starting to fill in around those guys. I think until you see the full roster, it's hard to assess, right?
Yeah.
That'll end the quarter. Grizzlies lead it by 8 after 10 minutes. Second quarter coming up here from Las Vegas. Stick with us. You should put the phone down occasionally and watch the game.
Yes, you should.
But during timeouts, if you're here in the building, get on the NBA app.
And, Matt, these fans are going to see someone, not a Zion Williams or one of the top picks, but there's going to be a guy that plays in some league that's going to make an impact on somebody's team this year. It happens every year.
Every year. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's Devon Akun-Purcell out of Illinois State.
You never know.
Has NBA experience. He was a two-way player with Denver last season. Played 6 games with the Nuggets. Tyler Harvey, the lefty, handles it, gets it back. He's got a screen from Lawson. There's your post-up, Sam.
Well, they should post him up, but why are you passing? You got you're 7 feet and you got a 6'5" guy guarding you.
Because they want a 3, Coach.
Well,
Hannah's inside.
What if you drop step and score and the guy fouls you? Isn't that an opportunity for a 3?
Could be a 3
There's
also.
a lot of ways to get them.
It's true. It is interesting how many teams in the NBA have virtually turned their backs on the post-up. Because the math tells us that it's not particularly efficient. But I've always argued that to change it up, to turn a defender's head around, it's like a changeup. If you're pitching, or a play that's going to throw somebody off in football, misdirection,
but man,
can't do the same thing over and over.
It's amazing to me. Come playoff time, it's amazing how many more twos teams take.
Yes.
Because at that point, when you get to the playoffs, it's about scoring in possession.
Right.
If you can get a point every possession, that's what you want.
Holiday past Harvey. Strong drive by Aaron Holiday. And he's got 10.
He's not tall, but he's strong and put together, compact.
Right. Listed at 6'1".
No, he's pushing 6'1".
I think that's probably a stretch.
He's pushing 6 feet, yeah.
I think he's probably more like my height.
Yeah. What's that, 5'11"?
5'11".
Yeah.
Here's Lawson down low. Goes to the right hand, but he traveled before he made the bucket. So don't count it for Ben Lawson. There's Holiday going to work. Holiday will try another 3 and knocks that one down as well.
Well,
Aaron Holiday with 13 points now. He's hit all 3 of his 3-point attempts.
And Matt, this is the crazy thing about it. Every time they run that high screen roll when he's made the 3, the defender keeps going under. At some point, how many more he's got to make before you come over the top and bring the bigs up?
Well, I don't know. It's a good question for you, actually. What kind of scouting is employed for the other teams in Summer League? Because so much of Summer League is about learning your own team's philosophies and plays. Do these guys think in terms of Aaron Holiday being a sub-34% 3-point shooter last year?
No, but this is the thing. You make adjustments in the game. You can be guarding a guy that shoots 20% from the 3. But if he makes 3 in a row, at some point,
you got to adjust.
You got to adjust. And as a coach, you have your base defense. And what these key teams are doing, they just pretty much have a vanilla defense in place. But you want to see these guys make those adjustments on the fly, because during the game in the NBA, if these guys make a team, you're not going to sit back and go under a screen and let a guy make 3, 4, 5 threes in a row.
Lawson 1 of 2 from the free throw line, but Indy couldn't collect the rebound, and so it stays with Memphis as you take a look at the Pacers' projected roster, including Goga Bitadze, the number 18 pick in the draft, their first-round pick. Harvey off on the 3, and the Grizzlies will keep it again. It's Lawson, and finally gets his first made field goal. He'd scored all 5 of his points from the free throw line.
Matt, the key to the Indiana Pacers this year is going to be when and how healthy Victor Oladipo comes back and how effective he is when he comes back from an injury.
Right.
Because if he plays like he was playing before he got injured, and then they get a healthy Malcolm Brogdon, who they just traded for and signed to an extension, if those 2 guys in the backcourt, they're interchangeable, they both can play the 1 and the 2, they can,
both guard.
Exactly.
Yep.
Indiana might surprise some people if they're healthy. Some of these young kids finally break through and come through.
That interchangeable backcourt thing works when they both have that kind of size.
Yes.
Pretty good size. Brogdon's about 6'4" or so. He can really shoot. Just became the 8th player in NBA history to record a 50%, 40%, 90% season for the Bucks. And cashed him with an $85 million deal on a sign and trade. Peyton Aldridge with the 3 for the Grizzlies. lead it by a dozen here in Vegas. Johnson hard to the rim, leads Johnson back to the free throw line. Indiana signed Jeremy Lamb, second leading scorer from the Charlotte Hornets roster on a 3-year, $31 million deal. They picked up T.J. McConnell from Philadelphia, as well as Brogdon. Also, T.J. Warren. The Pacers lead the league in TJs. They have 3 of them on their roster right now, which is remarkable.
I like what Kevin Pritchard's doing, trying to revamp his roster, trying to give some more depth around his team. And, again, when you have Malcolm Brogdon, and I've always been a fan of Jeremy Lamb. I think this kid's been underrated. He don't always seem to get consistent enough minutes, but a lot of times it depends on the player. You know, coaches want to win, and if you're a consistent player, you're going to get consistent minutes. So I tell all these guys all the time, don't ever think the coach don't want you to be successful.
Right.
He just he doesn't care. The coaches never have an agenda. They just want to win.
If you can play, you'll be in there. You can help that coach win games.
Absolutely.
You will be on the floor.
Whether he likes you or not.
Holiday pushed it ahead. Johnson with a bad pass trying to find Bowen in transition. Pacers fighting it a little bit here, and they trail it by 10. It's Memphis on top, 42-32.
Look.
Edmund Sumner was on the floor, helped up by the medical staff for Indiana, and he is out of the game at the moment. No reason to bring him back.
No, he's back in the game.
Oh, he's back in the game.
Yeah.
He did come back.
This summer league,
timeout.
You heard of Wally Pip, right?
I have heard of Wally Pip.
Hey, and not only did he get up, he checked back in the game, he went
right to the rim.
There you go.
That's completely wrong.
Hey.
Sumner's wearing your old number with
number
the
5,
Indiana Pacers.
That's right. Tough kid. Chip off the old number 5.
He's back on the floor and bounces right back up.
Matt, you can't make the team from the tub. Can't make the club from the tub. So if you're injured, Bill Fish used to say that all the time.
Are we going to pay off the Wally Pip reference? Because a lot of younger people won't know who Wally Pip was.
Well, they wouldn't know who Lou Gehrig is.
Well, that's a fair point.
Well, we'll just put it like this for the young listener. It's a guy that was a starting first baseman for the New York Yankees.
Yep.
He took a day off. They inserted a guy named Lou Gehrig. He never got his job back.
Never got a job back. Nope. Harvey with some fancy dribbling as he got caught in the corner there, but it goes as a turnover. And Sumner with the easy bucket. He's still limping a little bit after that fall.
Let me tell you something.
Wince a little bit.
Every time he touches the ball and score a basket,
feels
he
better.
Feels a little less pain.
Feels a little
Absolutely.
better. He's had NBA experience in a couple of different seasons, just hasn't been able to stick anywhere. Watanabe goes to his right hand, loves that little floater shot. That's smooth. Yuta Watanabe at about 6'8", put it on the floor, goes to the floater, and he's now at 10 points.
And, Matt, you see why Memphis is up on this Indiana team. You watch the Pacers play, and I understand you're trying to show your talent, but you got to play together a little bit. Every time a Pacers guy gets the ball, he just puts his head down, drive to the basket. Defense collapse, either strip it, or he turns the ball over, take a bad shot, and now Memphis is off to the races, getting good shots and layups and free throws.
Indy's shooting just 35% for the game, which is not unusual.
No, not
for Summer League. Holiday, he's been hot throughout the game and knocks it down again. Aaron Holiday now with 18. Make it 20 now.
And as a coach, you want to see your point guard. Anytime that guy can come off the screen, if that defender is going to keep going under, you want him to have range and be able to rise up and make that NBA 3 or that 17, 18-footer. And Aaron Holiday has proven he can do that.
Another turnover by Memphis. That has been the one downside to this performance so far offensively. They've got 15 turnovers.
A post-up. Something new. Let's see what he does with it.
They run Rab a lot in pick and roll. This time they go to the post. Goes back to the right hand. Gets fouled. Didn't look completely comfortable in the post, did he?
That's a lot of dribbles to be in the post, because the NBA game, if you throw the ball in the post and you think you're going to get 5 or 6 dribbles to get to your spot, it's not going to happen. You got to learn how to set your man up on the catch before. And the thing I used to try to teach bigs, Matt, get your position, go get your spot, the spot that you want, so that regardless of what the defender does, you know you already in your shot range. Now, after that, based on how he's playing, you
got your move, your counter move.
Now you get your move and your counter move.
Second-round pick back in 2017 by Orlando and traded on draft night to the Grizzlies.
Number 7, Cody Dempsey returns for Indiana.
And he's had some moments, 49 games last season with the Grizzlies, Ivan Rabb. Career-high 19 points and a season-high 11 boards in a win against Minnesota February 5th.
And one thing about Memphis, if you're one of these young guys on Summer League team, if you impress, you got a chance, because Memphis right now, yeah, they have their first-round picks. They got Morant and those guys. But they're looking to fill out their roster with young, hard-playing, talented guys. So if you prove yourself out here in the Summer League, you got a chance to stick in Memphis.
Akun Purcell, fouled by Evans. We have not seen the first-round pick Goga Batadze for this Indiana Pacers group. Kristen has
Is he here?
More on, well, we're going to find out. But Kristen has more on the 7-footer from the Republic of Georgia.
And no, Matt, he's not here yet. I just spoke with a member of the staff, and they told me that he's still working through the logistics of his visa. He could, though, get it as soon as next week. The hope is still that he's going to be able to join the team in Las Vegas in order to make his professional debut here.
Okay, there you have it. Batadze is en route, we think. They hope.
The State Department don't play about those visas now.
No.
They don't
do
play.
Not.
I know when I travel to Canada and I do work up there for TSN, my working permit, they are strict about it.
You would know.
Hey, the day that permit
back and forth between
the
Canada
day that
and the
permit
US.
ends is the last day you work until you get it renewed. And you saw that, man. The defender was right there sitting in his lap, just stuck his hand there, got easy steal. That's when the pass got to be made. And what these guys don't understand, the coaching staff sitting there saying, okay, why didn't you make that pass right there? When they sit down and watch film, they're going to talk about those things.
Patient play by Dusty Hanna's there, and he's got an and-one opportunity with the Grizzlies up by 16 when we come back.
Saddle up. The Rodeo King is now part of the King's Collection. 2 flame.
Another opportunity for Bruno Caboclo, who we've been talking about throughout the broadcast.
And, man, he's shown some flashes. He's shown that he can shoot the three. The thing that you want to see, I want to see him defensively. I want to see him, the ball goes up in one spot. I want to see him area rebound, not just rebound in his area. I want to see him more active and move and do things outside of his little box.
Hanna's completed the three-point play out of the break. Let's get over to Kristen for more on Bruno Caboclo.
That's right, Matt. As you know, he was drafted in 2014, and it was famously said of him that he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. But now he's really confident in the experience that he's gained. I talked to him before the game, and he told me that this summer he's focused on playing hard and just getting better. He told me that the experience that he has in the NBA now has made the difference in his game, and that he's learned a lot already. So I asked him where his game is now and what he could bring to the NBA, and he said at this point, it's the experience, and he's more committed in Vegas this summer to helping the younger guys coming in as well.
Now a mentor, Bruno Caboclo.
I would pump the brakes on that a little bit if I was Bruno. You need to establish yourself a little bit. Look, he's off to a good start. He's shooting the ball well. But to my point, when you see a guy with that size, that length, that athleticism, you expect him to be a better defender. You expect him to be more of a rebounder. You expect this guy. What was the kid yesterday from Australia we saw? that was in the mix of everything.
Mitch Creek.
Yeah. Mitch Creek is in the mix of everything, and that's what you want to see in Bruno. If I'm a coach, I want to see him mix it up a little bit.
Right.
I want to see him around the ball, switching on the guys, keeping guys in front, blocking shots, rebounding outside of his area. Those are the things that he's missing right now. Yeah, you can stand out there and make a three,
right.
But if you're not a starter, I need you to come into the game and change the pace and the play of the game.
Well, he has shown us a little more than that. He has a blocked shot. He's got 3 rebounds along the way. But to your point, points look great, but you have to be able to make an impact on the game.
Well, how many teams you're going to play for where you're going to be a primary scorer?
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And the best way, Matt, to get on the floor, be a defender and a rebounder and a guy that's always in the mix. Now, once you get on the floor, you're going to get your opportunity to score. The ball find guys on the floor. I've never seen a guy score from the bench.
Grizzlies by 16. Here's McIntosh high off the glass and knocks it down. Evans behind the back.
Finish it.
And 3, but way long.
Those are type moves. When you got a guy like that, you got to finish off.
Akun Purcell's turned away by Aldridge once and then twice, but he gets the foul on the second attempt. Peyton Aldridge with a nice block.
But, man, if you watch this play, if he doesn't take the ball behind his head, he could have quick dunked.
Right.
You know, if he keeps it in front, but when he took the ball back, he gave the Lawson a chance to catch up and block it.
That was Aldridge, Peyton Aldridge, out of Davidson. Spent last year in Italy. And Akun Purcell to the free throw line. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. 2-way contract with the Denver Nuggets last season. Actually made it into 6 games.
See, that gets you taken out the game with a round of applause from the fans and your teammates. And now the coach going to come down, give you a little tap. Good game tonight. But guess what? You got to follow it up the next game.
Got to keep going.
Yes.
Even with 69 NBA games under his belt, still trying to prove he belongs. They might have felt that dunk back in his native Brazil.
But if it's 69 games out of 5 years, 4 years,
right,
that's not good.
It's not enough.
Nope.
Harvey with another 3, taking advantage of the situation here late. He's got a dozen. Try another one. It won't go. How good can this Indiana team be next season? Don't know the exact timeline on Oladipo's recovery.
I think that's going to be key. How he comes back and when he comes back. Obviously, you're looking at Malcolm Brogdon with him in the backcourt. They still lost some people. I still feel like they're going to miss Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic is huge in the absence of Oladipo down the
He is
stretch.
just one of the most fundamentally sound players in today's NBA that I've seen.
He's just a bucket maker.
Yes. And that's the thing, man. What I love about him, he's not quick. He's not a great athlete.
Right.
But he's so fundamentally sound that he gets the defender in a bad situation. And think about it. As an offensive player, you got to give me something. Either the jump shot, drive left or right, or something. And he takes advantage of every little thing that you give him.
Signed a $73 million deal to join the Utah Jazz, who a lot of people, and this was before the Kawhi decision, but a lot of people felt like may have won the free agency period. And the time leading up to a post-draft with Mike Conley now in that lineup, Bogdanovic out there joining Donovan Mitchell. You've got 3 guys now.
Look at your lineup. You're 1, 2, and 3. Connolly, Mitchell, and Bogdanovic. You got 3 guys that can go get you 20-plus every night.
Never had that before.
And at least 2 of those
team.
guys going to get you 20, and that third guy going to get you from 15 to 18.
Right.
So right now you got your scoring. Then you got a guy like Rudy Gobert in the center that's shutting down the paint, blocking and altering shots.
Yep.
Utah Jazz is, and then they play hard already. That's their culture. So Quinn Snyder's done a good job. He just didn't have enough scoring talent.
Right.
Now he's got some scoring.
They've been an elite defensive team for the last few seasons, but there were times you'd see it in playoff series where they just couldn't get baskets when they needed them. And that seems
I know
offseason.
people are crowning the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but you got to remember something about the Clippers and the Lakers. 3 of those 4 players, when was the last time they played 75 games? When the last time Kawhi Leonard, Paul George have played 75 games, and Anthony Davis? The most durable guy between those two franchises is LeBron James, and he's been in the league going into his 18th season. Now think about that.
And he just had the most significant injury of his career last season.
But he's been the most durable guy.
Yes, he's been incredibly durable.
Yes.
When you factor in all the playoff runs, the 8 straight finals, not to mention all the USA basketball appearances over the years. Under 3 to go here. Well in hand for the Grizzlies.
There's a place built on power.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Well, we're on East Coast time still. My body's still on East Coast.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, I woke up this morning at 5:30.
Did you really?
Yes.
I did wake up earlier than I wanted to, but not 5:30.
And I want to make a correction. This is LeBron James' 17th season. Our Crackerjack staff always corrected me over there. His 17th season.
Peyton Aldridge with the 3 right out of the break. Well, that is noted. I didn't hear you say.
I said 18.
You said 18? Okay.
Yeah, but it seemed like it's more like 25. It don't seem like LeBron James been around forever.
He's been around a while now. One of the all-time greats.
I guess when you factor in his playoff games, it's about, 21 seasons?
Played so many.
Yes.
So many minutes.
7 straight NBA Finals?
8 straight NBA Finals.
8 straight NBA Finals.
Yep.
That's unimaginable to think about, going that deep into the playoff for 8 straight seasons.
Yep.
It's got to wear you out.
And he's been incredibly durable over that time. A guy not primarily concerned with scoring, but if you do the math, as Buchanan, it's a strong drive and finish, has a shot at passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's got 6,000 more points to get there.
I think he's going to get there. If you average a guy like LeBron James averages almost 2,000 points a season, right at about 2,000.
Yep.
So in 3 years, he's got 3 years left on his contract. So we're all predicting that next year he's going to come back strong. He's going to come back healthy. He's going to come back with a vengeance.
I think
let's say he averages.
Candidate. I mean, as the season, we're not even close to the season. When it begins, I think he's a candidate for his 5th MVP.
Yeah. So let's think if he averaged 25 or more, that gets him around 2,000 or more. So he can, and I think he's going to play more in 3 years, don't you think? I think after his contract runs out, he'd probably sign a series of 1-year deals and see how he feels year to year.
Well, there's a theory out there that he'd like to stick around long enough to play with the
exactly.
son reaches the NBA, assuming he reaches the NBA.
Well,
and is at the shot clock, no.
Would you bet against LeBron James' son being in the NBA? No.
I'm not betting against it, but I'm not assuming it either. And we shouldn't assume that he's going to continue to enjoy this unbelievable health over now he works at it, obviously. His physique is built for it as well, but as Charles and so many others have
Father
Time is undefeated.
And Matt, this is the weird thing about it. You can play one season and you're great. The very next year, it just hits you like a ton of bricks.
Right.
You go from feeling like you're 25, and then the next year you feel like you're 38. It happens overnight. You lose it overnight.
Final minute here, and the Grizzlies lead it by 30. Harvey, another deep 3 attempt.
Get him up, young fella.
I'm not sure that's the shot he wanted necessarily, but
you got to give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
Kick ball.
And Matt, believe it or not, as a coach, you rather see a guy a little bit too aggressive offensively than a guy that's passive, because I can wind you down.
Right.
I can't wind you up. So I always erred on the fact that I'd rather have a guy that tries to do too much. I can fix those problems than a guy that does too little.
Akun Purcell. Nice little cosmetic dunk here in the final 30 seconds or so. It's always a red flag for me when I see on scouting reports around the draft that they're concerned about a young player, a college player's energy level.
That's not a good thing.
No, when you're talking about a 19-year-old.
If you don't have energy at 17, 18, and 19, how are you going to have it playing 82 games, going through a playoff, practices, travel?
Well, good energy for the Grizzlies all around.
Impressed with this Memphis Summer League team. Put up 101 points.
Yep.
Summer League, that's impressive.